Hello lovely stitchy friends, I'm Kat and I'm delighted to welcome you to my channel Catkin and Lily, where we talk all things cross stitch. If you're new here and this is your first time finding my videos, then I really hope you'll enjoy seeing all my cross stitch updates. And if you're a returning viewer, then as always, thank you so much for coming back to spend a bit more time with me. So today is a FlossTube, it's episode number 24. And as I'm filming this, it's Tuesday the 11th of June, although the video will go up tomorrow, so that will be Wednesday the 12th of June. Either way, it is summer now in the UK, although the weather still hasn't quite caught up to that fact. We've had some really quite nice days, but we've also had some quite grey days and really some quite cold weather for June already, but it's always that way. It's always a mixed bag here, so yeah, we'll wait and see. Now, after my two finishes in the last video, 2 whole finishes, I don't have any finishes this time, but I have FFO'd those 2 finishes from the last video, and I have three more new starts. I thought I was only going to sit here and say I had 1 new start, my 1 planned new start that was my last Stitch Mania start, but no, I have 2 more to add to that as well. So yeah, it's still been crazy. So, as I say, I do have 2 FFOs, and you might already have spotted them because they're behind me in the shelves, which does mean I have to get them up and down to show you, but we'll go with it. And the first one I'm going to show you is this one at the top. So this is the Cotton and Twine subscription box from April, and you saw it last time finished. I've now popped it into an embroidery hoop. This is the hoop that came with the box, and then at the top I've popped a little bit of hessian and twine, and let me show you, and a tiny little flower charm to finish it all off at the top. And on the back, to spin it round and show you, I finished it with this wooden hoop back. So these are fantastic. These are just hanging here because this is actually holding that bit on at the top, so I could take it off again if I actually wanted to. But yeah, I've got this lovely wooden hoop back, which just fits. If I turn it, I don't know if I turn it sideways, yeah, I think it's going to show you. You can see it just sits. Hang on a minute, it's now decided to focus on me. Stop focusing on me. There you go. Focus on the hoop. So yeah, so that sits flush on the back. Finishes your hoop. Finishes your hoop perfectly. Is this where we're going today? I'm going to be completely unable to talk. It is possible. Anyway, that finishes the hoop really beautifully, I think. Now those are from, let me check, Stitch Kits Hoops. I'll link where I got those wooden backs from in the description, because I think they're absolutely brilliant. They're really easy to use. They come in a range of sizes, so to fit your different hoops. And I'm going to leave this one here for a minute on the side so I can show you the other one, because my poor shelves are now looking a bit bare. This one I've left unfinished at the back so I can show you kind of what I did with it. So here is my Coffee Gnome from Soda Stitch. And yeah, I have wrangled that one into a hoop. This one, this, as you might expect, was a nightmare to get in the hoop. The other one, really not too bad, obviously trying to get it central, but this one, oh my goodness. Because it's linen, trying to get it so that the text all lined up straight. Actually, I shouldn't show you after I've said that in case it doesn't, but I think I've got it fairly okay. Yeah, that definitely, wrangling was the right word for it. But I wanted to show you the back, because I haven't put the back on this one yet. So this is all I've done on the back. There is a piece of felt on the inside I've just cut to fit, and I did a running stitch all the way round and pulled it all up tight, gathered it all in like that and secured it. So that is how that's prepared. And then I've got to show you here. So this is the back that's going to go on there. It's just a, what is it? I don't know, plywood or something. But so then that will get glued over the back. If I put it on here, I can hold it so you can see. So that will then get glued in place on there, and that will be finished up like the first one. And I bought the glue to show you because the place I bought these backs from, they sell the glue that they recommend as well, and it works really well. So it is really good. And that is this Gutermann HT2. So yeah, textile glue. Gutermann Creative HT2 textile glue. So that's what I've used to stick the backs on, and yeah, super strong. They are not falling off anytime. Now the only thing to mention is that these two hoops, I wanted to show you the difference between them because, and so this first one, this was the hoop that came in the box, and this hoop here, you can't really see the bit at the little finding at the top. This is, I think it's probably an Elbasay or something really similar in terms of the hoop. This one, this is a Nerge hoop. Now some of you may have come across the Nerge brand with the plastic hoops for holding your work while you stitch. This is actually a hoop for display. I think the fixings at the top here are just a little bit nicer, put it there so you can maybe see, than some of the cheaper hoops. So these are a little bit more expensive, and they're beech, they're solid beech, they're beautifully smooth. I'll try and bring both of them in so you can sort of see, can you see a comparison between them there? Just in terms of the wood. So the downside to these Nerge hoops is that they're not quite the same sizes, whereas the Elbasay and similar ones are sized 4-inch, 5-inch, 6-inch. The Nerge ones are slightly different, which means that if you're going to buy wooden backs, they don't always fit. But this one seems to be fine for this, so yeah, this one's going to fit just fine. But sometimes what you find is, although this fits, so for most of them, the wooden back will fit pretty much right up to the edge of the hoop. Whereas on this one, I think you can see when I put this on here, I'm going to have a slight bit around here that is where it doesn't fit quite flush. But I mean, that really doesn't matter. That's absolutely no problem at all. It's just something to be aware of if you're using the Nerge hoops and buying hoop backs as well. So those are back up on the shelf behind me, and we can move on to my whips, so my works in progress. And I'm going to do something just a little bit different with my whips and how I show you them this time round. And I'm going to show you them in the order that I worked on them through the week, because I thought it might be fun for you to see how I fit my stitching in across the week, what I stitch on when, and yeah, all that good stuff. I'm going to put my new starts, I'm actually going to put one new start in there so it fits in that weekly rotation, and two of them I actually only started yesterday and today, so I will keep those ones for the end. Now, there is one significant whip missing because I still have not worked on her again. I hadn't worked on her last time. I haven't worked on her since the beginning of May. It is Gaia the Earth Goddess. I know, it's absolutely ridiculous because I adore her, and I'm stitching her at the same time as Andrew the Runner Stitcher and Emma from Emma Bobbins, and they've made some really good progress. In fact, Emma Bobbins is absolutely flying along. If you want to see what super good progress looks like on Gaia, then go and check her out. She popped it on Instagram just today or yesterday, I think, and it looks so good. So I do need to get back to that, but I have a plan, so don't worry, we'll come back to that one. But for now, let's dive into the whips. There's a lot, because as I say, everything else that had been on a very brief timeout, a lot of that's come back in again. So I have got so many whips to show you this time round. As always, I will pop info panels up on the side for you with all the project details, and that's where I will put my pictures of where they were at the last time you saw them as well. So we are kicking off the week with Monday, and that's a work day for me. And I do like to take some stitching to work with me. Obviously it needs to be something fairly small and straightforward. So at the moment on a Monday, that is the Four Seasons Spring by Bothy Threads. And yeah, it's quite a straightforward one to stitch in work. I had actually put it down for a couple of weeks. Even though it was my work project, I was stitching something else in work, so it did get a couple of weeks break. But I think I've made some progress over the last couple of weeks. There's where we're at, and I've been working really in this corner, so working sort of up here and into there. I think I've done the flower up here as well. yeah, still hopefully keeping that one in for my Monday work project. And that usually means I work on it when I come home in the evening as well on the Monday. Again, not tons of stitching time, but a little bit to put some extra stitches in on that one as well. So that one is probably just staying on Mondays. So for Tuesday, I actually have 2 projects that I'm working on. And the first one is my Wildflower Wreath by Dimensions. Now, this is by far and away my oldest WIP. It hasn't seen the light of day for quite a while, but it was a June WIP Go call to work on it for 5 days. So I've put it in rotation for Tuesdays, 3 Tuesdays, and I think 2 Saturdays. So yeah, I couldn't remember if I had a picture from before. So I took a picture before I just started stitching on it, and I've stitched 2, and today will be its 3rd day. So here's where we're at. That's where we're at. And so this was all the bit I had done before. So I'm working up in this area here. So I think I've added a decent bit. I think when I came back, I had up to about here and a little bit of that butterfly done. So I've managed to add all of this section up here. That's all been added since I pulled it back out for the 2 and a little bit days. So it's going to get a little bit more today and another couple of days. And then I think it will go away again until it gets another WIP Go call, because I know it's getting close, but it's not that close. I have so much else to work on. I don't think once it's had its 5 days, I don't think I'm going to give it any more at that point. I am actually quite enjoying stitching on it. It's lovely bright colours. It's not the nicest. I don't know what the threads are they're using there. I don't know if they're DMCs. I don't know. They feel a little bit scratchy to use, but yeah, it will be really nice to get it finished. I definitely want this one actually finished. And I've been doing a little bit of the back stitching as I go. There's quite a lot. If I show you before, when I worked on it previously, there are bits dotted through here. There's a lot more back stitch to go, but I've done some. And I just did the back stitch on this butterfly and this butterfly just to add a little bit. I thought it might be quite nice not to leave all of that to the end. I am working on it with it rolled up, so normally this bottom section is rolled up. But you tend not to squash back stitch if you roll it, so it's probably fine. I think I'll keep adding some as I go. Yeah, I don't want that left to do all at the end. So I said I had 2 projects that I'm working on Tuesdays, and the other one is Rossa by Bella Filipina. So I'd finished all the stitching, I'd just started on the beading, so lots more beading to go. So I have been doing some of that. I'd really only done quite a small bit last time you saw it, I think. So I've definitely done quite a bit more of that. So here's the whole thing, and I'll bring it in a minute, but the beading I've been working, I did a little bit on her neck, and then I've been working from the bottom up. So this is the bit that I've been beading, and I think I've done all this bit. I think I've done before. I've now done the bit over on this side. I've beaded almost everything on her tail there. I think there's just a few little bits somewhere in there. I can't see where they are. But that's felt like an awful lot. But there's still so much more to go. So yeah, it's definitely going to need a good few more sessions to work on that. Now, I have to say there were some really big beads in there. There's a lot of beads. It's really heavy, really clustered together, the beads. And there's some quite big beads on there. And I don't know how much I love it just yet. But I think I need to do it and get it finished and see how it goes. And as I've said before, this is on a 32 count. It's quite a tight 32, probably about a 33 count really. So they are potentially going to look a little big on this one. So I'm just going to do it, get it done. I think perhaps once I've done it all, it will really make it. So yeah, just need to put some more hours in on that. It's not something I can pick up and do for 20 minutes. I need a really good session to sit down and really get into it. But I will keep working on it, and hopefully more progress to show next time. So that is the 2 projects that I'm stitching on Tuesdays. And then we move on to Wednesdays, when I just have 1 project that I'm working on, because it's my Chromatic Dragon. And obviously it's only getting 1 day a week at the moment. So I really want to dedicate the whole of that day to really putting in as many stitches as I can, which isn't always loads. I've got to be honest, I'm probably managing maybe 600 or 700 stitches, maybe 800 if I'm having a really good day, but you know, I have other things to do as well. I'm not sitting stitching for the whole day. So there is I guess a limit to how much I can do. But still got some good progress, and I'm at 43,551 stitches, which is 20.81%. So I think I just hit 20% last time I showed you, so not quite got to the next percentage, but still looking great. There it is, sort of in its entirety. And what have I been working? I've been working, I need to think now. Oh, I know what I've been stitching. I was stitching this horn up here. So this is amazing. I've been stitching this horn, stitching some of the black across the top. Let's see if I can bring that in a bit for you. Yeah, look at that. That's amazing. That is the last horn that's here before it just is basically dark stitches all the way along here. That's now just dark, massive chunk of dark all the way down there. So that's where I'm mixing it up a little bit. You can see I've just started to work into some of that dark section to just keep that ticking over while I do some of the more colourful bits as well. So moving on to Thursday, which is my other work day. And the small projects that I had picked to take into work on a Thursday was the 2021 Halloween Club Designs by Shannon Designs. So there's 2 in this particular set, and I actually haven't done anything on the Spell on You design. I have worked a little bit on the Hocus Pocus design, so I think I'd started that last time, so I will show you where we're at on that one. That is where that is. So yeah, that's looking pretty nice. I absolutely love those Halloween-y colours. Now, these came out for a Whip Go call to do 5 days back in May, and I kept them in because they were a good work project, but I do have something else I might want to be stitching in work, so I actually think these ones are probably going to get shelved now to come back to later. Now, I usually keep working on whatever project I've taken to work. I usually work on that into the evening as well, as I did with the Four Seasons spring design that was for my Monday work day. But I didn't do that on Thursdays because there was something else I really, really wanted to work on. So I actually switched project and worked on something different for Thursday evenings. And that project was the Deadly Aquarium SAL by Lola Crow Cross Stitch. And the reason I really wanted to work on this some more was because I didn't want to get too behind. It's a stitch along. The frame came out to start with and there were 6 weeks to stitch that, but I started really late on it. And so we've already had now 3 of the exhibits, which are coming out weekly. We've had 3 of them all come out, and I really wanted to get a little bit caught up. I know I wasn't going to catch up completely. I really wanted to a little bit. I think the last time you saw it was just before the first exhibit. No, actually, I think I'd done the first exhibit 1 when you saw it last time. I think I should just show you. Here we go. This is where I'm at. So you can see I'm still missing some of the frame. Obviously the frame on this side. I'm missing the top of this frame over here. So exhibit 1, which I think I'd done, maybe, I'm not sure, was this chest. Let's see if I can bring this in. That was exhibit 1. Exhibit 2 is the pufferfish, which is looking pretty sad because I haven't done his spines yet. So he's just a bit of a blob. And oh goodness, I'm going so wonky with this. And all of this kelp that's up here. But I think that's exhibit 2 finished. And I've actually managed to stitch some more up this side here as well. So I'm actually quite pleased with that I've done exhibit 1, almost exhibit 2, just that bit of back stitch, and managed to finish some of the frame as well up that side. So I feel like I'm making fairly good progress. Exhibit 3 though is, I've done a tiny bit of exhibit 3 just because I felt like it. It's actually, exhibit 3 is a whole load of coral in here. And I've done just a little tiny bit because it was in that section. So I felt like I would just do that little bit in there while I was working on that section. So I'm not caught up. There's a lot more to do. And exhibit 4 will be dropping on Friday this week, but there's then a week break. So hopefully that'll give me a little bit of wiggle room to catch up a little bit more. But I am loving this so much. It's so much fun to stitch. It's fabulous. I really love my fabric as well. So I'm so pleased I decided to join this stitch along. It's absolutely brilliant. So that means we're up to Friday, and it's always a good day of the week, even if you work, but I don't, so it's even better. And I am now having Fancy Lady Friday. So you can imagine how much I look forward to that, because I'm really loving stitching on my fancy ladies. And it was particularly exciting because for the Friday, right at the end of May, I had my brand new start of Julia the Firefly Princess. So excited for that. So I did stitch that one then. So it was the last Friday in May, and I stitched it into the weekend as well, and then picked it up again for Fancy Lady Friday on the Friday at the end of last week. And here we are. I'm going to have to see if I can see. Yeah, I'll try and bring it in a minute for you, but I sort of just wanted to show you how huge it is. I've kind of gone, I feel like I've gone sort of marauding all the way across the fabric on this one, because I started at the bottom with this little swirl, and then obviously it goes all the way out here with the dress, but I want to work up this side and then across. So I did. So I carried on working a bit. Let's bring it in a little bit and show you how pretty this is. Even this bit in here, this has got Karen water lilies threads in a little bit of this. And then all up here, there's even some Chromatic on here. This beautiful, beautiful little swash. I've got up into the yellow bit. I've done another bit here with this the Karen water lilies in here. And then we're up. I'm going to bring this down here. I'm trying to see. This is, again, another part of the dress. It's ridiculous how far I've gone with this. I cannot see what I'm showing you on this one. Wow. So I've just started in a little bit of the pinky colour in here as well. So it's a bit crazy with how I've managed it, and just kind of, I feel like I've gone really rogue with what I've stitched there, but it does make sense in my brain and for how I like to stitch. I've done, obviously there's several metallic colours in there already. What I will say is this is metallic. Can I find the bit? It's this bit here. The trouble is I can't see what I'm showing you. Right in here is, there we go. There's a couple of little peachy bits in here, and those little peachy bits are, I think they're either glow in the dark or they're neon or something. They are not fun to work with. I'll tell you now, they are scratchy as heck. I normally don't mind Chromatic very much, and most of the other Chromatic in here absolutely fine, no problem at all. Oh, that peach was hideous. Had so much trouble threading my needle, and it was so crunchy to work with. Hopefully there's not too much of it in there, because not fun. Everything else on here is just an absolute delight to work on. It's so much fun working on this. But I don't know quite when she'll be back out again. She might be, not for the rest of June, I don't think. I haven't really got her scheduled in. I have other fancy ladies to work on as well. So we've then reached the weekend, and Saturday my plan was more Wildflower Wreath and more beading on Rossa. So you've already seen that was basically the same plan for the Tuesday and for the Saturday. But I was naughty again, and I didn't do any beading on Rossa. I really did mean to, but I wanted to stitch some more on the Deadly Aquarium, so Deadly Aquarium came back out again as well. And then it is the final day of the week, and that is Sunday, and I am having SAL Sundays at the moment. Since I have quite a few SALs at the moment, I thought that might be quite nice, especially with needing to keep up with the Deadly Aquarium. So yes, I stitched some more on the Deadly Aquarium, which you've already seen. And my other SAL, one of my other SALs, which is the Arctic Animals by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. I worked on that just for a little bit to try to finish part 1, which I did. Apart from, I will say, I am not going to be, at the moment, I'm not stitching those little word boxes. I'm not stitching them at the moment. I might stitch them. I've seen somebody stitch just the word without the stitch box behind, which that looked quite nice. So to be decided. I've finished the rest of part 1, which is there. Oh, it's so cute. These gorgeous little Arctic foxes. This one here just playing whack-a-vole. He looks rightly quite surprised. So yeah, that was really nice to get that part finished. There's 11 parts, and that was part 1. Part 2 is out in just a few days' time. So I'm very excited for that. I can't wait to see what that's going to be. And yeah, I'm keeping my SAL Sundays. I think that's a really good opportunity to work on the Arctic animals and the Deadly Aquarium. And of course, there is one more SAL to show you that isn't in my weekly rotation because I've been working on it for multiple days of the week. And that is the Wonders of the James Webb Space Telescope Stitch Along by Climbing Goat Designs. Now, you'll see from the picture, there's quite a lot of parts out. Part 5, 6, I'm trying to look now. 5 parts are out. I think I'm still in part 3, maybe 4. I actually can't remember now. I'm so far behind I've kind of lost track. But I've still made some really good progress from last time. So I didn't show you this a couple of weeks ago because I hadn't worked on it. And I have now picked it back up. And yeah, let's see where it's at. There we go. So let's see. Hexagons was part 1. So obviously there's more hexagons, like outlines I haven't even done. And that was 1. Part 2 was, I think then was this one and this one. So that was 2. Part 3 was these 2, which I'd finished this one last time. This is what I was working on last time you saw it. The, as I called it, confetti nonsense. But I think now it's finished. I think it's looking pretty good. Especially, I think this one looks better from a distance. So I have started, part 4, which is this one here. So this is the Southern Ring Nebula. So this one, not too bad to stitch, not crazy confetti. And I've done, yeah, that's over half done. The other picture in part 5 is down here, which is why I have just started working some hexagons down here. So that will be part 4. Part 5 is already out. Part 6 is out in a couple of weeks. Honestly, my goal for the next couple of weeks is just to try and finish the Southern Ring Nebula and maybe the hexagon frames below it. That's pretty much it. I'm working on this one. I'm sort of calling it my thread a day. It's more than one thread. I do a few threads, maybe a half hour. And I'm doing that on usually the 5 days that I don't work, but not always on all of those days. So it just kind of gets worked on most days when I'm at home for about half an hour. Which is why it's not going super fast, and I'm fine with that because the dark fabric and the very small count fabric, it's really hard to stitch any more than that. So I'm honestly happy with whatever progress I make on it. So that brings us to new starts, which I didn't think I was going to have any of, other than obviously Julia the Firefly Princess was a new start that I put in my weekly sort of roundup for you. But I did have 2 new starts because the first is called Woodland Fox and is designed by me. Yay! So last time I showed you a little drawing that I've been working on and watercoloured, and thank you for all your lovely feedback on it. A lot of you saying that you really liked the drawing, so thank you very much for that. And I have turned it into some pixels and I'm test stitching it. So I have the start to show you, which is not super impressive, but I have made a start. So I'm just going to show you. There's his little face. That's it. I've started on the ears, but only the white, so you can't see a huge amount. And I haven't done his nose and eyes yet. So yeah. So he is just a kind of, just a sort of disembodied head at the moment, which is a little bit weird, but I'm really enjoying stitching this, and yeah, look forward to showing you more next time. So my other new start was what I had planned for my holiday start. So I'm away on holiday next week and I love to have a new start to take with me. And I had picked out, I wanted to start the, what's it called? I have no idea frog is what I'm calling it. It's got a longer name than that. But I'm calling it the I have no idea frog by Hoops and Crosses. And I saw this and I just knew I needed to stitch it. And I apologise if swearing is not your thing, but I absolutely couldn't resist. I feel like this frog a lot of the time. and I love the rainbow colours. So yeah, just absolutely knew I had to stitch this. Thought it would be a really good holiday project because I thought I'd probably just stitch it on white 16 count Ada, would make the colours pop, and then it would be a nice straightforward, nice easy stitch to take away with me. But I found a piece of fabric that I thought it might look even better on than just white. I really didn't want anything too crazy for it, but I found this piece of fabric, and it was a piece of coffee craft fabric, and it was a 28 count. So I wasn't sure if I was going to feel that my stitches looked a little bit too big on it. So I thought maybe the best thing to do was just to start it before the holiday on the fabric and make sure that I was going to like it. So that's what I've done. Which is why it is the tiniest start known to man. Ta-da! One frog leg. And if I pull it back, I can see if you can see the fabric. Obviously, this is a really big piece of fabric. I've just started it on the corner, but it's this lovely pale blue, and I don't know if the camera's going to pick up. It's opalescent. So the fabric is gorgeous, and I really like how my stitches look on it. They look fantastic. The coverage is great. So that is a very big thumbs up from me for that. I think my stitches look fantastic. I think the rainbow colours are going to look amazing on here. I love the sparkle. It's not now the easiest project that I wanted to take away with me because it is even weave, and actually the sparkle sometimes catches my eyes a bit funny. So I'm now trying to decide if that means I need actually something else to take away on holiday instead of, or as well as, but okay, we'll shelve that until we get to plans. So before we dive into new stash, plans and AOB, fortunately there isn't too much of any of those. I do like to talk about what I've got coming up soon as well, because it gets me excited about what's coming up, and maybe you might be excited as well. And you might want to join in this one because this is the Happy Halloween stitch along from the Historical Sampler Company. Now I've seen some sneak peeks of this. I thought it looked super cute, and you know how much I love the Historical Sampler Company. I'll put some pictures up on screen as I talk about it and let you know all the details. So it is a 4-part stitch along starting on the 8th of July with parts coming out every 2 weeks. And as usual, you can buy just the PDF pattern if you'd like. You can buy the kit, which you can choose either Ada or linen. And you can also add on the luxury gift box as well, if that takes your fancy. And it does have some very cute pieces in there as well, some extra little bits and bobs, like the little ghost needle minder and some spooky floss drops. And I have to say a big thank you to the Historical Sampler Company, because I am one very lucky lady and they are gifting me the whole kit and caboodle with the kit and the luxury gift box. So I absolutely can't wait for that, because I would have been signing up for this one. I would have been stitching this anyway, so I'm very excited. So on to new stash acquisitions, and actually there isn't very much, but one very important thing that I bought for my holiday, because the worst thing about going on holiday and planning to do lots of stitching is if you don't have good enough light. Now I have a couple of things. I have a neck light and I have a tiny little LED clip-on light, but for a whole week away I really wanted something that was probably going to provide me a little bit better. So I got myself, this is the Foldy Go from the Daylight Company. It is not the cheapest light available, but it's really good. And it just, I don't know how much I'll be able to show you on here. It basically, this folds up and this then spins round. Although to be honest, you could use it facing either way, I think. And then if you want to, you can extend this up. So it extends up that far. Put it back down so you can see a little bit. And then you've got on the base, there's the light, and it's got brightness adjustment on there as well. And if I show you, look how big, you can see how big that light is. That's amazing. So you've got a really good amount of light on there. You can obviously angle this around, you can angle this, you can even spin it so you could have the base facing one way and have the light out to the side. It's really flexible. It says it will do about 8 hours on a charge, and you could just have it plugged in while you're using it as well if there was a plug socket nearby. So it should last really, really well. And then as I say, for travelling, this is, look how small that is. And then it even comes with a little case that you can pop it in there, zip that round, and now it's in its little case. So compact. The light is fantastic. I will report back on how that goes. So the only other thing I bought was a pattern from STITCHY, and I bought it from her Etsy shop, and it's called When Life Gives You Lemons. Now, as some of you may know, I do enjoy a little gin and tonic, and I have been dying to stitch this pattern. I really, really wanted to stitch it. It looks so beautiful. But I'm actually not going to stitch it for myself. I wanted to stitch it for my neighbours. We have shared a few gin and tonics, and they've been really kind and generous to us, and I think they would actually really appreciate something stitched. So I bought this intending to stitch it for them, and then thinking maybe I would stitch it again in the future for me. But I was showing my mum the pattern, and she absolutely fell in love with it as well. She thought the colours and the design would just be wonderful to stitch. So I kind of, in a throwaway manner, said, oh, well, I'll stitch one for my neighbours and you can stitch one for me. And she said, yeah, that would be fantastic. So that's what we're going to do, which is super exciting because it means we can stitch it together. And I think we're actually going to start it when I go and visit in July. I think we're going to start it together, and I can't wait. This is now going to be even more fun because Mum and I get to stitch the same design together. I can't wait. I have bought my threads. I thought I'd show you because these arrived actually just today. And if I can, I don't know if they're going to, oh, they are going to stay on there. Hey, the joys of a felt board. That's the colour palette, which is gorgeous. Yeah, absolutely stunning. So I've got those ready to go. So that is fantastic. I am still contemplating fabric. This really might be one that just needs to go on white. I think the colours pop so beautifully. I think it's just going to be a white 16 count Ada job, but watch this space, we'll see. I will just contemplate a few other options before I make my final decision. So what are my plans for the next couple of weeks? Well, as far as WIP Go is concerned, I've got my 5 days on Wildflower Wreath to finish up. My other WIP Go call was Organise, which I'm going to do something with my fabric stash, but I have not got to that yet. Otherwise, I'm pretty much keeping that weekly plan, as you saw with my WIPs sort of through the week. That's pretty much going to stay the same, apart from shelving the Halloween patterns. I have my holiday week, and this is where my plans for Gaia come in. Gaia's going to come on holiday with me, so I can give her some really good stitching time. Obviously, we'll be doing other things on holiday, mostly a lot of walking, I hope, but if the weather's awful and we can't walk as much as we want, and also at other times when I'm relaxing, I usually get a decent bit of stitching done. So Gaia's coming on holiday with me to get some progress on that. The frog is probably coming on holiday with me. I'm not sure if I'm going to take a third project. I could potentially do something easier, or possibly I might take one of the stitch alongs, maybe the Arctic Animals or Deadly Aquarium, just to kind of keep up on that. Given that the Arctic Animals, the new part, will be out just before we go away, if I'm really excited by that, I might need to take it with me to work on. And then, of course, for Fancy Lady Friday, I have 3 main ones if you don't count Rossa that I'm beading. I have 3 sort of active ones at the moment. Obviously, Gaia's coming on holiday with me. Julia's just had some progress. So I thought for the last 2 Fridays in June, it would be only fair to pull out the Sorceress. So that's what I'm going to do. So last 2 Fridays in June will be the Sorceress. Now, you will be pleased to know that for any other business, AOB, there isn't a huge amount. It's been pretty quiet. I have been in the garden a little bit. I actually had my first day where it was nice enough to sit outside. It wasn't too windy. It's nice and sunny. I sat outside with my cross stitch and a gin and tonic, and it was heaven. Absolute heaven. But yeah, other than that, there's not too much to report really. We had a lovely week. We had Asa the dog staying with us. I think when I spoke to you last time, I think he was with us, and we had a lovely time looking after him. And he then went home, apparently sulked under the bed for a bit. So I guess he had a nice time with us and didn't want to go home. I'm pretty sure he was happy to be back with his regular humans very soon. But I'll put in for you, because he was with us the day that we sat out in the garden that I was talking about. He was still with us. So I'll put a picture in of that so you can see what a lovely time we were having, and you can see my lovely pond, which is, I think, looking really quite nice. So that is everything. There always is a lot to get through, but I hope you've enjoyed seeing what I've been up to. And of course, there will be plenty more to share in 2 weeks' time. Of course, I should also have a tip or tutorial video, not decided what, but there should be one next week while I'm away. So if these floss tubes and the tips and tutorials, if that's all your cup of tea, then make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I'll see you back here again soon. And until then, happy stitching. Bye for now.